Ben Thorpe has been hanging out in the stage for a while, in the backstage for a while. So I want to pull him up. What's going on, Ben?
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm happy to have both of you come up. I found that a commonality. I've only recently engaged. I grew up as a Calvinist. You guys know that?
Yeah. The
point of view.
It's like a hard determinist Christian where everything had to be that way.
It's really I do think that form of Christianity is just not compatible with reason. And so when I was in college, I was like, I kind of really rejected it, but it wasn't really brought up because my parents were divorced. My dad got into it. So it just got into my mind. And then I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Anyways, I studied religions and I was into Buddhism and things like that. But I came around to Catholicism, which I think is a different take altogether. So I wouldn't lump those two, like Calvinism, even though you can say they're both Christian. And I just wonder, and I found that so many atheists are really, in a certain sense, reacting to maybe an irrational Christianity. But I that it may not be that's what's going on. But I think in a sense you can throw the baby out with the bathwater. But I understand that you guys are saying, no, that's not what's going on.
I think that Calvinism, to me, the only thing I can see about Calvinism is it explains the existence of evil better.
Better than nothing?
Better than regular Christianity, because Calvinism doesn't claim that there's this loving God that loves everybody.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So you can evil
kind of like God sucks. Deal with it, right?
It's kind of like God's not necessarily all that he's not all that loving, and so it sort of fits with the story, but then it's just there's no more evidence for that God than there is.
If you're convinced that the world is bad, then Calvinism fits perfectly. A God who is basically an a-hole who damns people to hell for no reason and arbitrarily selects some people. But actually, I think there's historically there's a close connection between the rise of what's called nominalism philosophically in the 13th, 14th century, which led to Protestantism, which then led naturally to deism, which led to atheism. But I don't know intellectually. I don't really think that's intellectually consistent. But there is a way in which, if that's who God is, no thanks. And why would I? How would I?
So do you hold an Augustinian view where evil is just the absence of good?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's
gotcha. I was just curious why you said instead of nothing when she was talking about evil.
What's that?
Oh, you had just given away your position earlier when you had made a statement, and so I was just confirming what I thought your position was on evil.
Yeah, that evil is the absence.
I understood your position better.
Yeah,
right?
There is no such thing as evil per se. It's just the absence of goodness. Yeah, so that's That would be I think a mainstream Christian view. I don't know.
Yeah, but some Christians believe evil is there's an independent entity, that infects people and stuff like that, and works against God. Sort of.
I believe that absolutely.
But the interesting thing I always found about Calvinists though is I never met a Calvinist who did not think that they were actually part of the elect. It was if this was truthful, something truthful, it seemed like there would be people who believed it that did not actually think they were part of the elect, because and so it was always interesting to me that the only people that believed it were the people who thought they were part of the elect. So,
well, the funny thing about it, I was just talking with the guy the other day that I'd known him for a while online, and he says he was just screaming at me, which is actually consistent, because why would you want to convince someone who is totally depraved, in other words, unable to recognize truth? Why would you want to convince them or preach to them? It wouldn't make any sense. if God can arbitrarily choose the elect and does so for no reason, why would you preach? Why would the Bible exist? You know what I mean? Like, how
Well,
would you know?
most Calvinists don't preach. I mean, most Calvinists are like most Calvinists because from what I understand, or the ones I've talked to, they believe that if you are part of the elect, that you will, I mean, you will eventually convert because
Right.
that was God's plan. So if
Yeah.
there's no reason for them to go out and proselytize to you because you might not even be part of the elect, and if they're
Right.
preaching to you, then they're just, wasting their time and yours too. It's like, I don't know, but it does allow, like, it allows you to justify the evil, I'm not talking about like an independent evil, but just the suffering that we see,
Yeah, because it's
on the
directly
planet.
attributed to God, right? Because he hates us. But then the question is, why would he elect any of us? If he just hates us because we are awful in every way.
I mean, she is right in that is much more coherent than the other Christian positions, and Hassett isn't wrong in that God literally says he created evil in the Bible, right? That is in the book.
I would say that evil is inherent in creating free beings who can not
I
follow.
mean,
Right, but
why couldn't he have just Why couldn't he have just created beings though that didn't want to do evil?
Yeah, he could have. He could have just
he
created the animals. That's true. He could have just.
Or he could have created us without the desire to do evil. Like he could have made a better world. If God created this world, I think that I probably could have done a better job. Actually,
that's an excellent point, because I actually think a lot of people go like, well, he could have done a better job. For Christians, you have to believe that the world is perfect, right? Coming from the hand of a perfect God. And that if I have pain and suffering in my life, that it's absolutely exactly what I need. And I might not know why, but I can't really complain about anything ever.
Yeah. And it's your own fault because it's Adam and Eve's fault. Actually, that's part of the thing right there. Is that like the original sin occurred in the Garden of Eden, and like we are still born broken sinners because of that.
Yeah,
and and so like what? So the thought that God would punish all of humanity for a crime that involving eating fruit in the Garden of Eden is just
I think we understand that. You understand that's symbolic, right?
Well, I mean, there's some people who don't, though. I mean, I grew up missionary Baptist in the state of Kentucky. These people believe that the Adam and Eve is real. I mean, the art was real.
But what I'm saying is the fruit is a symbol. I mean, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is not like maybe that's an apple tree or a pear tree. Clearly, there's symbolism.
I don't know. Like my version of Christianity that I was raised on didn't do much on symbolism. It was like everything was literal. I mean, like anything the book said. But like, there's just so many, like, God ordered. I had never read the Bible really until later on, and like all of the genocides and the orders that the Bible claims came directly from God to commit atrocities against other humans.
What would be atrocities today? I agree, but
they were atrocities then. I mean, if they were bashing babies on rocks and killing everything except for the virgin girls. I mean, that was an atrocity. I mean,
was the flood an atrocity? If you take that literally, was the flood an atrocity?
Yes, it would be. Yes.
So here's an interesting question. What about, like, there was recently a huge tsunami in Asia. I don't know if you remember. It was like 5-6 years ago. Killed like 200,000
I remember it.
people.
Yeah.
Is that an atrocity?
That is an atrocity. That is a natural atrocity. See, the thing about it is
But how
that,
can you have a natural atrocity?
well, I mean, it's just it's just the way our world is. Our world is not. It was not this planet and this universe were not created for our us to just completely thrive. I mean, we live on a planet that is trying to kill us.
But isn't by
You know,
you saying it's an atrocity, you're saying something's wrong here.
no, I'm not really giving it causation for that. I mean, it's just
But you have
it's horrible.
an atrocity is something that's
Well, okay. Well, then I used the
breaking
wrong
of the
word.
moral law.
It's a natural disaster, is what it is. A natural disaster.
But why isn't it
If I
just natural? Why is it a natural disaster?
well, I mean, it's like it's a loss of life. I mean, it's sad. It's sad. I mean, there were people who.
Why would it be sad if life is just sort of meaningless?
I didn't say life was meaningless.
Oh, okay.
I don't get my meaning for life from a God, but that doesn't mean that I think
Neither do
life
I.
is meaningless. I think that we make our own meaning in this world, and I'm a human, so I'm kind of
You make
empathetic.
your own meaning?
Yes, and I'm empathetic towards humans because I am a human.
But so can
like,
I make my own meaning that I'm not empathetic towards humans?
well, that's not my meaning, is what I'm saying. That's two different things, is what I'm saying. Yeah, there's plenty of people who their meaning is not to be empathetic towards humans. We live in America right now. There's
Well, what I'm
lots of that
saying is,
going on.
if you were to say, I think we should, I mean, basically, you basically have the Christian ethos, right? But you're saying, but if I was to say I don't have the Christian ethos, and then I just punch you in the face and I go, that works for me, you would say you're wrong. You wouldn't just say, well, your meaning, right? Wouldn't
I
you?
would probably just punch you right back, but that doesn't make you right. I mean, I kind of live by humanist values of, like everybody has autonomy. I believe that I actually believe that people have the right to believe what they want to believe. I don't think we should ever legislate beliefs.
Do you think
I don't think we should legislate marriage on who. I think everybody should be able to marry who they love, and I think everybody should have the right to have their own bodily autonomy. Nobody should force anybody to do anything with their body. So, like,
okay,
and that right there kind of just takes care of pretty much all. I mean, like, if you punch me, you're violating my autonomy.
right? But if we just make up meanings, then everything you believe doesn't matter because I just believe something else, right? But I mean, don't you think there's something called truth? Is there nothing that's true?
Like truth isn't just truth. Oh, sorry, Taco.
Why don't you define truth before you
that's
ask
great,
what
yeah.
truth means? Because you're probably using some strange definition of truth.
Well, I think it's commonsensical, that which conforms to reality.
Okay, so
and yet you believe in God.
You're going to accept that for
I don't believe in God. I know God, and so do you.
Right?
But I don't believe in God in that sense. But go ahead.
I was just saying we're going to accept that for a certain epistemological framework, probably, right?
Knowledge is, or truth is that which corresponds to reality. I mean, does that sound crazy to you?
No. That's correct. But
No.
there's different epistemological frameworks to determine, because if you're doing math, it's going to comport to a system, right?
You believe in math?
What do you mean? Do I believe in math?
You believe that math is a thing that makes sense of reality? Hey,
I mean, math. You can describe reality.
Okay,
yeah, it's a language.
A picture of a guy who was hugging the number 2. Okay, but quantity is kind of.
Yeah, so I'm a nominalist, and that's a image from a video that I did where I was asking where is the number 2, and just talking about nominalism, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I don't think that it exists outside of a conceptual nature, right? It's not like it doesn't have a
It exists in the mind, right? Is
existence
what you're
in
saying? It exists in the
some
mind.
platonic realm or something.
It exists
It's
in
a
the mind.
language. It's a
It's in
language.
a human mind.
But it
There's
exists in the mind.
Are you a divine conceptualist?
I don't know all the terms, but I don't know.
Do you think that?
You're talking
everything
about
is,
Plato
like,
with the
within a God
forms and all
mind?
that stuff.
Do you think everything's within a God mind?
Yeah,
Or
so
is this
I think as a
physical
Catholic we
existence
tend to
within
take an
ontology separate from God mind?
Aristotelian view, which is that let's say forms are only iterated in particular forms.
So, are you an idealist when it comes to? Are you saying so? So you're saying that like abstract concepts exist in their own independent realm, or what are you trying to say?
I'm saying that
Position.
well, like say for example, I mean, I think when we get into philosophy, it gets like tricky. But I'm just saying, common sense is that love and truth and right and wrong exist. A child who understands all those things, and yet they're not physical things, right?
Well, they would exist within a conceptual nature, right? So, it would be physical in that. It's a tricky question in that you think it's a trap, but it's still a product of the physical, right? It's a I think the best way to describe it is like a supervenient relationship in that it like arises from the physical. It would still be physical. It doesn't exist in some abstract realm. It's just in your in a conceptual nature, right?
Yeah, I mean, I understand
it's all products of the physical, though, right? There's not like some, in my view, there's not some alternative realm where the stuff exists that we're accessing some realm of forms or something, right?
Okay, well, maybe like without getting into the philosophical here, like I think the if nominalism started like in the 14th century, I think it just arose out of nowhere. But I think its logical conclusion is transgenderism, and I don't want to get political, and I'm not trying to be like whatever, but do you think that if I was to say I'm a woman, that would make sense?
Hello. I'm not sure why this has anything that people don't just transgender. People don't just say that they're woman. This is something that they're born and go through as a child. And I don't know what.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Do you believe? Do you also believe that if you eat a cracker and drink a glass of wine, that you have part of Jesus's body in your body?
No, why would I think a cracker is part of Jesus?
Well, you said you were Catholic. You don't take communion.
Catholics don't believe.
You think Catholics think crackers are Jesus? Are you talking about the Eucharist?
Yeah, you don't do that.
But you're saying that if I have a cracker and with wine, that right here in front of me, that I think that's Jesus? No.
I mean, it's supposed to. The cracker is supposed to be.
You're talking about the sacrament of the Eucharist, right? Is that what you're saying?
Catholics don't believe that, like, you're
Yeah.
literally eating Jesus' flesh or anything like that. That's not.
So I think your question that
since always,
I do want to respond to that
Catholic.
one question.
That's not a part of Catholic doctrine. It is it is representational.
No, that's not true. No.
So I do want to respond to the one question that you just asked about transgenderism.
Yeah.
So I think that the way that you asked that is a misleading way to start the conversation, and a better question would be kind of like what Robin was leaning towards, is like, do you accept transgender people as men or women according to what they identify as?
No, but I'm just saying biologically.
Way to approach that, and I would say yes. I would say that people are people. I think that everybody should be treated fairly and be afforded appropriate rights.
I agree.
And I feel like the way that you came in and approached that was right-wing talking point spouted by bigots.
No.
Right?
Well,
and
okay. I mean,
I'm not calling you a bigot. I'm just saying, from what I've seen in interactions in the debate sphere. That's generally how Bigot engages in that conversation.
So then you are.
I'm still confused
And I
how we
prefer
got
that if we're
from
going to discuss
nominalism.
stuff like
fine,
that. I
it's
don't
fine,
mind,
it's fine. You guys
but
can
I
just
think we should be
pleasure.
respectful about it because these are people too.
I know, but I'm actually not asking about transgender people. I'm just saying that.
I'm just saying if you're going to
if
go off
you
on the wheels on
create your-
topics like
hold
that,
on a
let's
minute,
be
hold on a minute.
respectful of the people group, okay?
Hold on a minute. I'm just
I
saying,
think that's only fair.
if you leave the politics of it aside, if you say you create your own meaning, which I do think is the farthest end of nominalism, if I was to say biologically, which transgender people don't say, that I am a woman, they don't say that. They say no, that's gender, it's different things. So that I don't think there are many people who want to make the claim that biologically, scientifically, by me saying I'm a woman, I can be a woman. Because what this gets back to nominalism is you're saying woman and
just to
man.
be clear,
Nominalism means
I've
we're
done a
just putting an
stage-
arbitrary. Hold on a second. We're just putting an arbitrary name on things that
That's
don't
not what
actually
nominalism
exist.
is.
But I think male and female.
I don't
do
see
exist.
where this goes, and I don't see how any of this is useful to the conversation that we were having.
Can you guys hear me?
But on yeah.
Yes,
but on
we
top
hear
of
you,
that,
Leo.
I have done a stage, and I have been on a Discord with people that belong to this group
Me
for
too.
years and engaged. I mean, I honestly, in my area, I don't see many people in that people group, but I've engaged with them online pretty regularly.
Me too.
And I've never heard one tell me or anybody that they're a biological woman.
Exactly.
And
That's why I'm
they
saying it
say
doesn't really have anything to do
woman.
with that.
And
Actually, it doesn't sound like you know the difference
Or they're
between
a
sex
woman,
and
right?
gender.
that's the only thing I hear.
I
don't-
do know the difference. Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is, so we're not talking about any of those people. I agree. I have a lot of love for those people. They're children of God, and they deserve respect. I agree with all that. But what I'm saying is, if you say you create your own meaning, and like a certain type of nominalism would hold that the label male and female are meaningless, right? They're just labels.
Are you sure you understand
Then
what nominalism is?
can I
This is
say
wrong
I'm a
with
woman
metaphysics?
or I am female? And I think you would say no, you can't say that.
Am I just like not coming through? Because I've said like a million.
Your
things
volume
and
is
nobody
kind of low.
has
Can you go into
engaged.
your edit mic settings? And I boosted it up to 200%, but
How am I sounding now?
yeah, we can
Speak
hear
up,
you a little
Leo.
better now.
Speak up.
Leo, we want to hear
My
your
mic's
truth.
right in front of you. I don't know what the issue is. Nominalism doesn't. Nominalism is a metaphysical view with respect to the notion of abstract concepts. It doesn't really deal with the meanings of things. It just takes that abstract concepts do not exist.
Right, which has huge implications.
I mean, I don't really think so.
Well, if you say that cat is just a word, a nomen, a name, and there's no really such thing that it's describing, that's different than
Yeah,
dog.
but that's not
then
what nominalists
you
think.
do run into massive problems with that.
Yeah, but nominalists don't think that.
Do
I mean,
you
there's all
have
kinds of
a
different nominalists.
volume button on your microphone, or can you
Yeah,
move it a little bit closer to your mouth?
it's all the way up. My volume button is all the way up. I've turned my gain up. I don't know what's.
I hear you
last
fine.
time
I hear
was
you
in
fine.
Okay.
StreamYard. So yeah, I have no
About
idea what the
nominalism,
issue is.
I just know that I do
No
not
idea.
know God. You made the claim that I know God, and I do not know any gods. I've heard
I think that's
of
not
people
true.
claim there are gods. But-
I don't know what's going on.
We all know God because God is the ground of being. So insofar as
No,
that may be not how you
not.
define it. You're saying God is a being. I don't believe God is a being. So if you say
I don't
God
either. I think
God
he's a.
who is
I think he's a.
being, God is being. So
I think he
What
is
does that
a
mean?
figment of your imagination, is what I think. And
But do you
I think the
being-
grounded.
do you
I think
existence
the grounding of existence is just probably physics.
Well, but that doesn't make any sense because where does
Wow.
physics come from?
Well, I don't know where did God come
Well,
from?
physics is a
God is
subject made up by humans.
definitionally uncreated.
Oh well, how
The
convenient.
universe is uncreated. What's wrong with that?
But things
I mean-
can't can't create from while being uncreated. We know that. But I mean,
Okay,
this is
nothing says
this
it
isn't possibly
created.
what your problem is. You didn't have trouble with Thomas Aquinas's proofs for the existence of God.
I mean,
That's not what this is about. This is about something else. You read the Bible, and then it was told to you in a way that was irrational. I totally can see that happening. It happened.
I didn't read the Bible, so you obviously.
Or
didn't
you were
listen to my conversation.
you were told like that the Bible said
You're
something, and
just
then you read it, and
assuming.
you said it doesn't match up. I totally can understand that, especially if you were raised by like a very like pious mother in a strict Protestant tradition. But I would just wonder if like that's really where the problem is, not in like that you don't understand like the 5 proofs of God's. I mean, I doubt that most people couldn't understand that.
Now give me one proof of God.
Proofs for the existence of God are not what you think they are.
Well, just go ahead and
Aquinas
shoot
did
me
not
one.
offer those proofs to prove
I mean-
something to non-believers.
Okay,
Here-
well then why are you up here spouting it? Thomas Aquinas, what year did he live?
I think like mid 14th century, around the time of
Okay.
Newton.
So we know a lot more about the natural world and reality and physics and
That's
just
true.
everything than we knew in the 14th century. So
True.
there's no reason for me to refer back to somebody that lived 600 years ago who actually believed that demons infected people and witches existed and stuff like that. I don't need to go back there. I have much better knowledge to draw from right now to,
Well, it doesn't
to
sound
say
like it
that
from what you're saying. You're just someone who's totally confused about everything.
I'm not
So,
confused
I'm not-
at all.
Well,
I'm
but
not
I
the
mean,
one
you're not even able to focus, like follow a line of conversation. You start talking about.
I'm not the one that jumped to
autonomy, like,
transgender
that makes
people in the
sense.
middle of a God conversation.
What's that?
I'm not the one
say,
that just like
believe in
jumped on
autonomy, right? Like, what is that? What does that mean? Autonomy?
That means that your body is your body. I don't have the right to violate.
And how's that
your
relevant
autonomy.
to anything? Oh, you're talking about because I said, why can't someone punch them in
It's
the face?
humanism. It's humanism. I'm
Okay,
a
but what is
humanist.
a right?
This
What is a
conversation
right?
going nowhere.
If you make your own, my point was, if you make your own reality, how do you say there are universal rights? Which I agree with, you agree with, but that shows that there's something called like.
Did I say I
human
make my own
nature and morals
reality?
and conscience.
I don't think I said I make my own reality. I said I make my own meaning. What my life means is my
Well,
decision.
how's that different than making your own reality?
Well, it's
Because
reality
what
is
the
something we
fuck-
all share.
Holy
we all
shit, this
share
is really
reality.
So
Okay,
are you
great.
rejecting that we
Wait.
share reality after joining a conversation with us?
Who?
Do we share some type of objective existence here?
I think that's common sense, but people could argue it who want to claim they have some issue.
I don't know
Okay,
anybody that thinks
because
we don't exist.
I was just making sure, because if you were going to start questioning whether we exist, I was just
I
we're
agree.
having
It's
a
ridiculous,
conversation,
right?
right? We're way past that point.
That's a ridiculous. Would you agree that that's a ridiculous statement? Even though you can't actually prove that we're not in a simulation right now, or that this isn't a dream, right? You can't prove it.
I mean, nobody.
Sure, but
can.
that's not an argument.
Right. It has to be assumed. That's what we usually call common sense. What a child.
No, it's not common sense. That's called an axiom.
But a child understands it without knowing that it's an axiom. And then later he may develop to be a person who understands it in philosophical terms, but he doesn't have to. Very few people can really understand philosophical axioms or would be in the position to do that. But common sense tells us that, like, if someone says maybe this is a dream we're in, which basically is this kind of like I make my own meaning thing. That's foolish, and that's not the problem.
When you're talking about your position and our position, and you're like, I have a justification for rights, and you guys don't have a justification for rights, you understand that if your God doesn't exist, you still have a justification for rights, right?
My God doesn't exist. God doesn't exist. God is.
I agree.
None of these
100%.
statements make any sense.
So Ben, if you didn't eat breakfast yesterday morning, how would you have felt yesterday evening?
Well, I don't
you gotta
really,
get it right.
without getting into the details, you're saying I would have been tired. You don't need
Probably.
you don't need to
So you
explicitly.
can engage with hypotheticals, Ben.
Yeah,
which
tired,
is the
right?
point
Is
of
that
that
what you want?
question.
Okay, so go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, go
if
ahead.
your God didn't exist, you would still have some grounding for morality, whether that be subjective or whatever, right?
Okay, okay, I
Maybe you
understand
see
what
our,
you're. I think
our
I understand what you're
objective
saying.
morality in the environment, right?
I agree. I think what you're saying is if there wasn't a Bible and there was no concept this way, like we didn't refer to it, we could still understand right and wrong. We could eat and all those things. True. Yes, of course.
We could either develop it through societal norms. It could be an evolutionary byproduct. It could be
I agree.
Maybe there's an objective force, guiding moral force, like T-Jump says, a moral field. There's
but if you then label that force God,
that
then
could come from, right?
Okay, but if someone says like, well, that's God, then we agree, right?
No.
Well, if you say there's a moral force that we
I don't say that. People like T-Jump say that, and they're wrong. They're very wrong.
Yeah, I said T-Jump. I disagree with T-Jump's position, but I was simply saying that there are different ideas on how that could arise. Right?
So from a Catholic point of view, and I don't know if you know this, but like there's such a thing as natural law. So we would say many of the things that are written in Scripture can be known, and of course, science came out of the Catholic Church in many ways in Europe. So it's just a different like field of science. It was all under scientia or knowledge. So maybe that's the issue, because if I say God is being and you say no, God is a being, I would say, okay, yeah, well, that's incorrect. God is being.
What does it mean to say
So
that
if
God
you affirm
is
being, then you affirm God.
What does that mean? To say God is being? What is specifically is being predicated about God there? I don't understand people who say this.
That existence itself is grounded in a creator.
Why would existence is sort of just a description of a state of affairs? Why would that need to be grounded in anything? I'm not following.
Because we have now we're going to get into philosophical stuff. We have a contingent existence, obviously.
Yeah, ontology is a subject in metaphysics. So when you start talking about existence and things that exist, you're going to be in the realm of philosophy. That's what philosophers talk about.
Yeah, I know. And on YouTube, frankly, people don't really do a very good job of understanding.
No, a lot of people don't. I'm not one of those people.
Well, so you claim. And you may be.
I think that the other two people in here besides us would probably attest to that fact as well. As would probably some people in the chat.
Not really adding much. But anyways.
I don't know this Leo guy. I've never talked to him before ever. I don't know what he's talking about.
It's my first time here.
I like the way he rolls. He's very assertive. He just comes in and says, like, there's something wrong. People aren't talking to me. Must be the mic. I like it. It's funny.
So I don't know what the fuck is up with my mic.
I turned my headset volume up, so I think my headset was just kind of low.
But what I'm saying about what I think you mean about you don't need those things, Catholics would agree. Like, if you want to call it reason, or you want to say reason is your brain and conscience is your heart, it's located somewhere in your brain, I don't think that really matters. We agree that there's such a thing as conscience and reason and truth and science and math and love. But the real question is, to me, is this world a beautiful place, or am I a victim
I think so.
somehow of it? And I think atheists have convinced themselves that they're a victim when there's no evidence
from
anyone's life that they're a victim of anything.
Do you want to hear?
What do atheists think they're victims of?
An idiotic atheist point of view on the world?
Do I want to?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Would you like to hear what I think of the world?
Sure.
I think that the world is beautiful, right? It's so it starts off with Big Bang, right? Rapid expansion of all this stuff. This stuff plays space ping pong, which is super cool, doing chemical reactions over many, many, many years. Zoom into Earth like 4.5, 4.6, something like that billion years ago. You've got Earth starting to form. Over time, the chemical reactions allow an atmosphere to form, and then you get small, like DNA, RNA and DNA forming, and then you have evolution from simple to much more complex organisms over what's a couple billion more years, something like that, and then you get to today where we have us developing technology. You've got animals with all different levels of intelligence and different capabilities and different evolved traits. The duck-billed platypus is a freaking freak of nature, dude. Have you seen a duck-billed platypus?
I have, yeah.
It's so freaking cool, dude. They're venomous. They lay eggs. They're a mammal. They're so freaking cool, dude.
I agree with all of that. So I don't understand what the difference is between us. I agree. All of that stuff is beautiful. And the reason it's beautiful, you can only say something is beautiful if it's been created by an artist. So
that's not true.
You're just saying I don't like the term artist. Okay, I don't care. It's beautiful. I love the artist. You say somehow you have some trouble praising the artist of the creation. Fringe. That's beautiful.
That's a very fringe position on aesthetics.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
Nope.
Yeah. Most people, I think, in aesthetics, I don't know if most aestheticians are realists about beauty or not. I'm not. I don't think beauty is like an objective thing in the world.
Well, obviously you don't. Look at your hairstyle.
Well, I don't. Supernovae are beautiful. I think they're gorgeous. They're not created. They don't have an artiste behind them. They're the result of natural processes.
But there's
also, by the way, 8-bit is in the backstage.
Nature and God. I don't understand. God is the ground of nature. So yes,
I don't know what ground of nature means. I don't know what that means. I don't know what you're referring to there.
I think you have a confusion about that. Yeah. It's not.
Yeah, I am confused. Are you going to explain it to me, or are you just going to point out that I'm confused when I'm telling you that I'm confused? I don't.
Do you mean like objective facts about reality or the nature of reality? Is that what you're referring to?
I mean, like if you say that my father, in some sense, created me through my mother with my mother. Okay, so he's in a sense biologically the ground of my being, right? So that's what I mean by it.
That's
all of reality was created by God. Everyone understands that. You understand that. Everyone understands.
I don't, because I don't think that's the case.
It's also incoherent because if let's see, God created all of existence, well, he would have to first exist in order to do anything.
Well, the title of God in the Old Testament is the Tetragrammaton, right? So, and what that means is I am who am. So that right there you have God defining himself as being.
Okay, but
that's kind of like you defining yourself into existence. So I mean, like you can't define something into existence.
Well, I want to go back to Breakfast Tacos.
And actually, I just want to say that in the Bible, that you have no evidence that God said any of this. This is people reporting things. This is not
like don't believe that God wrote the Bible literally. Yeah, no.
Well, I mean,
many Christians believe that.
Well, I don't care. Even if they think he inspired it, they can't even show evidence of that. All they have is a book.
Oh, yes, they can.
With words on paper. I mean, I can write
beautiful sayings. Have you ever read the beautiful sayings of our Lord Jesus Christ?
I can write down on this.
Man could say such wise things.
Can you talk? Can you just let somebody else talk for a minute?
Sure, buddy.
Like I can write on a piece of paper right now here in front of me. I can write, "I am the one true God. My religion is true." Mm-hmm. It doesn't make it real. It doesn't make it factual. It does not make it anything in reality.
No one,
And that's
yeah,
what
no
the
one would
Bible is.
claim
The
that.
Bible is people writing stuff writing stuff down. They told the stories for a long time, and they wrote
Yeah.
stuff down. These were people that did not know anything about the natural world. They thought lightning was something that God sent to punish people. They
No.
did not.
No,
Yes, they
that's the
did.
Norse
Yes,
god.
yes.
That's the Norse
That
god.
it was they're gods. I mean, there's
The Christian
these
Bible
same
says that
people.
lightning is punishment? No.
The same people. No, the book doesn't say that, but these people thought that. The same. You have trouble with like letting other people talk, don't you? It doesn't. These people, like these same people, still say, "Oh, hurricanes came because of the gay people" or something like that. It's the
Yeah, I
same
know there is somebody who says
nonsense.
that, yeah. The
It's the
tsunami.
same nonsense. It's the same nonsense. It's
Well,
just
wait a second. So
claims that
can I,
people wrote down because
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
didn't understand the natural world.
It sounds to me like someone told you believe this because their argument was God wrote this, you have to believe it. And then you said, why do I have to believe it? And they said, because God wrote this, right? And that's a terrible way to
No,
catechize
that's
someone.
what you're saying. You're saying that
No,
God
I didn't say anything
said
about the
his
Bible.
name was Yahweh or whatever it was. Like, and
Yeah, that
I
is the
mean,
name. I don't pronounce it out of courtesy, but yes.
out of courtesy. I mean, like
Yeah,
God, even calling God. God is not a name; it's a title.
That's
Like
right.
there are many gods, so I mean, his name.
Well, we would say the Muslims use the term Allah, and Palestinian Christians use the term Allah because that's a title. But technically, in the Old Testament, his name is expressed in the Tetragrammaton.
Yes, but he was just he's a literary figure.
I understand
Is what I'm
that
trying to
you can
say. He
think
doesn't
that.
exist in
I'm not mad
reality.
at you for thinking that.
He's
Of course, you should be
he's a literary
skeptical
figure.
of the claim.
You can't. I mean, that's like me talking about Rhett Butler and Scarlett O'Hara and acting like that they're actual real people. I mean, yeah,
Robert,
there
you
were
don't
people
understand.
that
The
played
claim
them
of
in the
Christians
movie.
is not that the Bible is true because it's the Bible. That's not the claim of any Christian. That's just like the ultimate straw man.
I have heard about people. I have heard people quote me Bible verses to try to prove the Bible. I mean,
Right.
I don't know why you think you're speaking for all Christians. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, there are irrational Christians who don't know. A lot of
there
times,
are lots of I mean, you're one of
women
them.
tell their sons they have to believe this without like being in a position to properly catechize. Yeah, sure.
I mean, I think probably all Christians are somewhat irrational, or they wouldn't believe in gods. Do you believe that people rise from the dead?
What do you mean?
Was Jesus crucified on a cross and put in a tomb and got up 3 days later and walked out?
Absolutely, yeah. But I don't think that that's a normal occurrence. Like, I don't think that I think it's happened perhaps 3 times as recorded in the scriptures. So, generally speaking, I don't think people are resurrected from the dead. But I do firmly believe that we will all be resurrected at the second coming. But
you refer to the Bible a lot for somebody who doesn't.
No, you actually see me as referring to the Bible.
Well, you did. You said it's told
all
in the
believers
scriptures
as being these kind of Bible thumpers, and I don't. I'm just saying.
Well, you said it's in the scriptures, and I'm trying to figure out why. What other evidence is there that Jesus rose from the dead besides the scriptures, besides the book that says that this happened, that we don't have any corroboration for it whatsoever? What other evidence do you have that somebody rose from the dead after being dead for 3 days?
No, there's it's all contained within the New Testament, and also, people who subsequently followed. Like, you can't say that like the Christian movement was cooked up in the 3rd century, right? I mean, there's clear historical. There's a historical communities, but I agree with you that the evidence for the crucifixion there is some evidence of the crucifixion, I think, historically, but the resurrection.
What?
The argument for the resurrection. What's that?
What's the evidence?
Well, I mean, I think there's external evidence like found. I don't know exactly what it is, but I think there's the evidence, what is presented as the timing of Passover, etc., is
I can tell you right now, there's not no
corroborated.
evidence. And actually, the two of the books that describe Jesus' death, the four books of the John, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, two of those books disagree on the timing of the crucifixion anyway. One of them says that it was after the Passover, and one of them says it was on the night of the Passover or something like that. So they contradict
sure
each other
about
on
stuff
the
like that,
timing.
but
But
You're not saying
there's
that
no
you-
external evidence. I mean, Jesus is
Wait, hold
Jesus
on.
is mentioned one time. Jesus is mentioned one time by a writer outside of the Bible, and it's
Yeah.
like it's a reference to him that 300 years after he's been dead. And
no,
and
you're just engaging in nonsense. There is absolute
no, it's not nonsense.
corroborable evidence from very early on that there were Christian communities. Like, you're just engaging.
Wait a minute. I didn't say there were not Christian communities. I'm talking about Jesus rising from the dead. I mean, we know for a fact, we have plenty of evidence still today that people believe stuff. I mean, we actually have, in my lifetime, and probably yours, I don't know how old you are, we have watched the rise of Scientology. There are actually people who believe Scientology. That religion has been created right in front of us, and there are people who follow it. And so you mean we watched it? We still watch people follow it. The Mormons, they're a couple hundred years ago, or whatever, 100 years ago. They've got lots of followers. There's millions of Mormons.
What's
People
the broader
believe
point here?
People believe shit. They believe shit. There's lots of people who believe shit. That does not make what they believe
doesn't make any sense at all. People believe
that's not evidence. It's not evidence of something happening because somebody believed it.
Atheism doesn't make any sense at all. Naturalism doesn't make any sense at all, and yet people say they believe
Why
it.
doesn't naturalism make sense?
Well, can you define naturalism?
Naturalism is the metaphysical thesis that the natural world is all which exists.
Okay, so you used what to make that sentence?
I used words.
Words, okay, and words are not natural. Right?
Words don't exist. They consist in sounds and symbols, languages that are conceptual schemas developed by humans. No humans, no language.
So they're
That's correct.
Okay, so is a concept a natural thing?
Concepts don't exist the way that, like, say, electrons exist and that planets exist and that gravity exists. I'm a nominalist. I am a nominalist about abstracta. Abstracta do not actually exist. They do not stand in causal relations.
They exist in a different way.
They don't have. I don't think that.
Then you shouldn't use language, right?
Why would I not use the conceptual schemas we've developed for communicating? Why would I not do that?
Do those schemas correspond to anything, or are they just arbitrary?
Correspond to anything. They correspond to the motivations and actions of humans. Yes, that's why we developed them.
They correspond to reality. When I use language, can I describe reality?
Language can have a correspondence relation to features of reality. Like if I say it is raining outside and you look out the window and it is raining outside, that is a statement that corresponds to some feature of physical reality, yes. But it doesn't mean that language has to do that to be meaningful.
Oh, people can lie, of course.
Well, it's not even just lies. I can make truth statements about things that don't exist in reality. Like when I say that Harry Potter has a scar on his forehead. That's true. But there is no Harry Potter in the world, and he does not have a scar on his forehead in the world.
Except insofar as he's a character in a character. Right, yes, but there's no... Yeah, I agree with you.
So yeah, I'm still failing to see what the issue with naturalism is.
Is your view of nominalism that saying that Harry Potter doesn't have a correlative human being who has an historical existence, unlike, say, Abraham Lincoln? Is that what you think nominalism is?
No, I've said what I think nominalism is. That abstracta do not exist.
But you're using abstracta to say that.
I don't know what you mean.
Language,
is
not natural.
I don't know what you mean when you say language is not natural, particularly when there's like terms like natural language used all the time in linguistics.
Well, I don't know how I can help you here, but
I don't think I need help. I was just curious why you
It
thought
seems like you need
naturalism
help.
was
You seem like a
meaningless.
very angry person who lacks social skills, but I love it, you know. What are you
so
angry
you
about?
don't, so you don't have any reasons to think that naturalism is silly.
Naturalism is inherently, you can't use language without using concepts.
You
Deny the
haven't
existence of
explained how
concepts.
I
this is a
am going to
problem for
request that
can't
you
have-
stop gaslighting, Ben. It's happened a few times now, or at least seeming like you're gaslighting. You're doing.
You know what the
like
definition of
standard,
gaslighting
Hey,
is?
man, I'm talking real fast. I'm making a point of moderation. You're acting like a standard Reddit theist right now, and projecting your own anger and frustrations onto Leo Phileas, calling him angry. Instead
I'm
of
making
doing
a
that,
psychological
you can converse
observation.
with him,
Your psychological observation is
trying to
very
gaslight
inaccurate.
him and project your own
Do
frustrations.
you know what the term
onto him.
gaslighting means?
Gaslighting's not
I made
real.
my
It's
point.
crazy.
Do you know what the term gaslighting even means? People use that on the internet.
We're not
It means-
defining every single word that's being used every single time. You can continue talking with Leo. Just stop the gaslighting.
Well, wait a second.
Stop the nonsense.
I made a psychological observation. Then you made a psychological
was very
observation
wrong.
about me, right? So it's fair game.
Yes, I
no?
was pointing out that the way that you're acting is like a standard Reddit theist projecting his frustrations.
But couldn't I
onto
say
Leo
the same thing
Phileas.
about you, except just add the word atheist?
We're being a bit more.
I mean, you
charitable.
could, but it wouldn't be true. Reddit atheists are super cool and amazing people.
I mean, not according to anyone except Reddit atheists.
That's just the words of a Reddit theist.
Really? I've never been on Reddit. I mean, I think a Reddit atheist is like the definition of a guy who's overweight, loser, like has daddy issues, lives in his basement. I mean, I'm just saying that. And I have never been on Reddit, but I've heard the term used.
Oh, that's what I was calling you with Reddit theist. I guess we both have the same ideas for the opposing faction.
Yeah, but except you are a Reddit atheist, right?
No,
Oh, okay. But you think they're great, cool people.
yeah, atheists are amazing.
Okay.
I don't know. Some of them are.
I
shitty.
don't think Reddit theists are probably any better than Reddit atheists. I think they're probably both loathsome people who hang out and somehow are involved in a debate that no one cares about. I think the whole atheism.
I was
theism
simply
thing-
pointing out that you were projecting your own frustrations onto Leo.
Okay, so but I was pointing out that
he-
he's an angry young
Oh,
man who
man,
has problems
stop
with social
interrupting me.
skills. So, but you're the moderator, but you can just say,
Okay, we're gonna stop talking over me, man. So I was making a point, and you started over talking. Just calm down for a moment. So what I was saying is that Leo was talking.
God, I'm so angry, right, B-Talk?
He was talking to you in a calm, not angry voice, and you called him angry. And so I pointed out that you were seemingly expressing your own frustrations onto him and then trying to convince him that he's being angry for some reason, when he's sitting here having a conversation with you like a normal person. Grow up, dude. You're older than me.
do you think that angry people can use a calm voice?
Do you
I
think my
he's
voice
sitting
isn't
here
calm?
educating you.
Well, I think I'm here educating him. I mean, we're never going to get anywhere with this, but
Welcome back, Robin.
I'm happy to move on.
Thank you. I somehow threw myself out for some reason.
I'm just
Yeah.
wondering if you guys maybe have anger with a certain interpretation of religion or theism, which I'm not sure I disagree with. When Breakfast Tacos was talking about
no
the
anger
language-
or animosity on my side, at least.
See, that's where I would say is angry because you interrupt me while I'm talking.
Yeah, and you haven't interrupted a single person this entire fucking almost 2-hour stream. Not once have you interrupted anybody.
We have
here.
chat.
Not once.
We have chat vote to confirm whether Leo might have an anger issue. Because chat voting is reality.
Imagine a guy. Hey, yo.
One's in chat that Leo might
B-Talk,
have a
imagine
little
a
bit
guy
of an anger
screaming
issue.
into his mic, Chad, is this guy angry? Chad, he's so angry! Chad, what's going on? Like, it's...
Now,
I've had good
now,
fun,
this is
yeah.
where the social skills critique comes in.
This
is where got a little crazy there,
Did you know that autistic people are actually better than allistic people at picking up on social cues? It's not that autistic people can't pick up on them, it's that they ignore them.
Yeah.
Did
I'm
you
getting
also know that
that theory
autistic people
full
have a
on
more
here.
standardized and formalized mode of communication that's ultimately better as a form of communication, adhering more strictly to the rules of the languages that we have than allistic people? It's not autistic people that struggle to communicate. It's actually allistic people who are far too informal with their language and suppose that all of the rules of language are just everybody knows.
I have
So-
kind of come to appreciate autism as a kind of superpower.
I don't think
would
it's a
say
superpower.
though, in most situations, like in terms of like
As someone who
you
has
talking with chicks, I don't think it's going to
have-
get you anywhere like this.
You'd be wrong on over a dozen counts. So, I mean, I just let my experience kind of speak for itself.
You have good success with the ladies with this type of stuff.
I
Don't
think
say
I'm-
dude chicks, Leo.
I think I'm contently successful.
Okay, well, baller. It is kind of a baller approach. I do like it, like just immediate, like aggression without any social.
If you think I'm being aggressive, buddy.
Yeah, Leo's not being aggressive.
The people in here, and there's even some in chat that could tell you stories
About you?
about what it looks like when I'm actually being aggressive. This is not me being aggressive at all.
No, he's not being aggressive.
Oh, you
No.
can be much more aggressive.
If I try not to be, because I don't know, I don't take it as a meaningful approach, but
Okay,
My autism led me to.
I like it. I think you should lean into it, and you have obviously. So.
I like
Okay,
it.
interesting.
I love it. I want some more of it.
My autism led me to objectivism.
But
Like
how
like
about this?
Randian objectivism?
Yeah,
Oh,
Maybe
well,
we're all opposed
kinda.
to irrationality.
anarcho-objectivism.
I don't know what that is.
It's if you've ever heard of Liquid Zulu, he's another
Never heard of that.
anarcho-objectivist.
I don't know who that is.
He's on YouTube.
Would you guys agree that atheists usually become atheists because they have a crisis in their life where they say things aren't making sense? I was taught something and I'm not finding it to be true. Because I think that's totally valid.
I mean, I don't think that's wrong.
Education.
I just wouldn't necessarily
would've-
use the word crisis to describe it.
Yeah,
It's a mischaracterization. Education is not a crisis. Well, there is an education crisis in America because it's the right wing
It's
right
an
now.
understatement.
But you guys seem like you're
it's
just
not
not
a
willing to be
crisis that
honest
causes
and
it
say that
usually.
happens a lot because you don't want it to look like it's a mental. I'm not saying
More
I'm not
often
saying
than
something
not,
wrong
it's
with it. I'm just saying
education,
you
right?
have a mental
You-
crisis. I mean,
So
Maybe
Robin,
like
you
all
learn
of us
the
should
art.
agree with what you said.
Robin articulated in great detail how he was brought up by someone, with this like
Did he call me a
Southern
he?
kind of thing, and then he
No,
had a
I don't think
crisis
so.
where he read the Bible and he had a sort of breakdown of
Call me
belief,
he again.
and it has occurred over time. That can be a fine
So
thing.
Robin's
I
clarifying
thought I
that
was
Robin is
married. I had a
woman.
crisis, and I realized I wasn't married. It's okay. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. You can
Do
be
you
right
do you,
at
do
the
you,
end of your
do you
life.
know? Can you do you think I'm a he?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. You're a she.
I've
I
been
don't know.
since birth, as far as I
how many
know.
men are named Robin other than that little boy on Game of Thrones?
Wait a minute, Robin was with
Robin
Batman.
Masters
Robin
was,
Williams.
was the manager of
Robin's
Magnum
an androgynous
PI?
name.
Do I
Oh,
sound
God,
like a
why
man? Do I sound like a
No.
man?
Yeah.
All right. Why?
No.
I don't think I do either. But I mean, I might sound a little more manly than some of y'all. But
You
I just
sound
wanna
like a
ask you a
man to
question.
me. I don't know. I wasn't trying to misgender you. I have
Okay.
no idea.
all right. That's all right. I'm not. I just wanted you to know.
And your PFP looks like a man from here.
That's Bruce Springsteen. I don't know if you don't know who that is,
No, I thought I don't know. It seemed like if you're identifying with Bruce Springsteen, that probably you would be a man.
Wait. Oh my God. You think that because her profile picture is Bruce Springsteen that she's identifying as?
I'm just saying.
Every dumb fuck tradcath
guessing.
idiot on
Robin
Twitter
didn't say
that
I'm
has Thomas
she.
Aquinas as their profile picture is now identifying as Thomas. Get the fuck out of here. That's dumb.
Well, Leophilius, I know that autism is your superpower, and I do think it
It's
can
not
be a
a
superpower, but some of us
I
pick
just
up on
identify as the
clues
boss.
that are not
That's what I
necessarily-
identify as. The boss.
that are not necessarily, but the voice, the name, and the PFP I put together.
That's all right. You're forgiven.
As the he.
B-Talk, I feel like I should just be like running around going, I have the power.
You should do
James.
Yeah. I would
It would
adopt
be good.
that.
I just want to say
Yeah, you
that I think theists, after they get grown, like after they get out of move out of their home and where they're not families not forcing them to be theists,
Yeah.
and they continue to be theists, are irrational, like what you said. They like to, especially if they understand. Do you accept evolution?
Evolution has been proven mathematically. Neo-Darwinism has been
Where?
mathematically proven to be inexplainable. But I don't. I agree.
None of that. I don't know what. None of what you said made any sense.
Microevolution is undeniable.
There is no such thing as micro and macroevolution. Those are theist terms.
There is, but they're the same thing. Microevolution is evolution.
We don't.
if
People
you
who
accept
understand
microevolution
evolution
either.
Well,
Robin,
it is true. Yes.
separate it.
The distinction.
Robin, if you accept microevolution, you accept macroevolution.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
We
what
don't-
I said.
Only theists
I mean, if you
separate.
want to talk about
Only
that,
theists
fine, because I do
separate
know-
them.
I know a little bit about it. Microevolution has to do with the expression of existing genetics. So, like when I think it was Darwin who said, "As we get closer to the sooty factories, the moths get darker." Okay, or things like that.
No, it wasn't
So-
Darwin.
Or whatever,
That was
whoever
not
that was, right? So that theory is microevolution. Macroevolution, Darwin didn't have a theory for how it happened, but about
Yes, it
100 years
did.
ago.
It was called natural selection
No. Genetic mutation.
and genetic drift.
Okay, you're just going to talk over me.
Well, I mean,
Now that I know you're a woman, I
it.
understand why you interrupt so much.
I'm the boss. That's why. That's who I am, Bruce Springsteen, the boss. But nothing you're saying is coherent. Nothing
Wait,
you're
can I
saying.
just finish explaining what my understanding of macroevolution is? Macroevolution is the, theory, which all of evolution is kind of a theory, or used to be.
Yeah,
but I think
it is a scientific
known
theory. Yeah.
fact. But
Yeah.
the idea that genetic mutation allows big jumps beyond the normal variety of genetic
That's not
The
macroevolution.
that
big
theory
Evolution
has
doesn't say
not
anything
held
about
up.
big jumps. That's not.
And in fact,
That's not a theory, and that's not what evolution says. Evolution.
Taco, can you
This
play the
idea
straw
of
man
big
video?
jumps, where you have a dolphin and it turns into a mosquito, like what
No,
Kent
no,
Hovind
no.
says, because he's a fucking idiot. This kind of shit doesn't happen.
No,
Microevolution is macroevolution on shorter timescales. That's
I'm
what's
almost
not being
Catholic
understood.
accepted
The
evolution.
only difference between micro and macro evolution are the time scales. Evolution on a scale of
That's
100
not
years
true.
is
It's a
micro
different
evolution.
mechanism, Leo.
Evolution on a scale of 100,000 years is macro evolution.
You could look it up, but you're not interested.
I have looked it up. Not only have I looked it up, I've spoken with people who have PhDs
Leo.
in things like evolutionary biology, biochemistry, and all of these things. Yeah, they're the same thing.
Yeah, the difference.
Okay, Leo,
The difference
do
between
you believe that
micro-
the human species has developed, let's say, among Inuits in Alaska, has developed where a certain phenotype is selected for within? It's not a mutation within the human, within the human genetic expression, where being more stocky and compact, having a layer of fat is selected
Haplotypes?
for over
You're talking
time.
about haplogroups, aren't you? Which is an evolutionary term. And
I have no problem with saying. I have no problem with saying that. I'm asking
as
you.
a result of a different environmental.
That's
factors
because
across
of
the
natural
planet,
selection, right? I have no problem with saying that.
Which is a part of evolutionary theory. Yeah.
Okay, sure. I told you I believe in microevolution.
Well, the
I don't believe in it. I know it to be
macroevolution.
true. It's obviously true.
Well, how old is the Earth, Ben? Ben, how old do you think the Earth is?
Jesus.
Just
Whatever science says it is, I have no problem saying. Like what Breakfasttacos said when he described what I would call creation. I loved everything he said. The Big Bang and all that stuff. No problem.
okay. Leo, I was just trying to determine that. I'll let you get him back.
No,
But why do you have a problem with evolution? If you accept,
It depends what you mean by evolution, but I just don't think that genetic mutation, in the way that it was adopted after Darwin's time for a brief period of time, it has been disproven. Also, the main problem with it is that if you say that creation comes from death and destruction, that's a kind of religiosity that I would call Odinism. And it's the same kind of idea that the National Socialists had in Germany in the 20th century. The idea that the creative spirit is forged through violence and warfare is terrible. Creation comes from play and beauty. And I can prove that.
well, you said evolution was, what did you say? It was proven wrong, and how was that done?
No. The idea that the mechanism for macroevolution is genetic mutation has been disproven by evolutionary biologists. It has nothing to do with Christianity or anything like that.
Where are you getting that data from?
It's mathematically impossible because of the math of genetic mutations. Now, there may be some other mechanism, and I don't have any problem with that, but that one has failed.
What math are you referring to? Like, what
you can look it up. You can look up. I think like a huge number of evolutionary biologists have acknowledged that this explanatory mechanism has failed, and the other ones are obviously just lying because they want to keep their jobs. But
I mean, if you're going to use that in an argument, you should at least understand what it is you're talking about, so you're able to explain it yourself. Just saying, look it up. It's
no, I don't want to explain it because if you had even the slightest interest, you could go and do that yourself. You don't.
That's your responsibility.
Because that's not where all of your anger at God comes from.
Well, I'm not angry at imaginary beings.
My anger at God comes from my left butt cheek.
I'm sure it does.
Yep. Yep. It sure does.
But what I was saying was, you made the argument. The burden of proof is on you to support it.
No, I'm not. I don't have any burden at all. I'm just having a conversation.
Yeah, you do.
And I'm suggesting that if you had any genuine interest, you could find like plenty of stuff about this. And
I've read.
I have no burden to prove that to you, but I don't think that's where.
But you're making.
I think this is downstream of a crisis that you folks have had. That I think is the crisis that I had, which is irrational forms of religion being shoved down your throat, but all you've done is replaced one irrational way of thinking with another one.
How is
evolution isn't irrational?
Well, if it's been disproven,
it's not been disproven. It's not ever been disproven. I don't know if you.
Well, I would agree with you. I agree with you. A certain mechanism has been disproven, but there's never been. There's none on offer to replace it.
Mechanism. What are you talking about, dude?
Creation. If you go to the Creation Institute or something like that, is that where you get your information from?
No,
like,
you keep thinking I'm a conservative Protestant. I'm not.
I don't care. You're talking. I mean,
I don't know the scientist. There's a guy named
Stephen
something. There are many scientists in evolutionary biology.
Stephen something. Do you have any names of these many scientists? Because like one of my best friends is Dr. Jay Bundy, who holds a triple PhD in evolutionary biology, and he would argue that you are completely
Jessica, the
making false claims.
It's not a study. It's a mathematical analysis.
There's no. I mean,
it's a good thing that doesn't really matter for biology for the most part. So,
what doesn't matter?
I don't know any evolutionary biologist that says that evolution is false.
Genetic
it isn't.
mutation is entirely based on mathematics.
Well, no, it's
Because
not.
DNA
It's
is
based on-
basically
it's
code.
based on genes.
So it's like a
based on
computer
genes.
code.
It's
And it's
mathematics.
based
And to
on
have a
mutations
computer
in
code
those
randomly
genes.
mutate in a beneficial
Changes
way.
in the codon structure of the DNA.
It's
That,
not
that,
random.
that doesn't
It
have any
happen
fucking
that
thing to do with mathematics. That was happening long before mathematics was ever dreamt up by anybody. So I don't know what you're talking about.
No,
You do
Leo,
understand
don't
what-
seem to
do you understand what
that
natural
understanding
selection is?
mathematics doesn't mean that mathematics wasn't there.
Yeah, well,
You-
mathematics isn't a thing that's there. It's a concept that humans came up with.
Do you understand what natural
Right, but
selection
it also corresponds to reality, as you've said.
In some senses, it does. Pure mathematics doesn't. That's why it's called pure or abstract mathematics.
Well, does 2 mean something?
Yeah, it's a particular quantity. It's a real number. It's a natural number. It's a
Does
whole
it
number. It's an
correspond
even
to
number.
realities where there are 2 of something, or no?
Of course, we can say there are 2 of things in reality. We can even say there's 2 of things that like we're thinking of. But just 2 simplicator is merely a mathematical concept. It's a number, a quantity.
Right, so it's in our mind. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Do you understand what natural selection is? That's what I want to know. Do you understand what natural selection is?
I understand natural selection within existing.
No.
genetic
I didn't put no kind of within kind of the confines on it. Do you understand what natural selection is?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay, that your environment, decides what what the species like choose, selects for
Yeah.
for the most fit.
That's why a guy like me has
Okay.
6 kids, and a guy like Leo, I assume, has 0 kids, right? You can.
Yeah,
That
I
has
don't
nothing
want
to do with
children.
natural
Selection.
selection. That's called Catholicism and fear of
Well,
birth
that has nothing to
control
do with
is what that is.
Catholicism either. It also
I'm
has
just
nothing
kidding.
to do
I'm
with
just
natural
kidding. Go ahead.
selection.
Hey, they do. They don't.
Hey
they
man,
don't
good
do
on you. I'm
control,
not having kids.
Leo.
You need somebody to keep making them. And it sure as fuck ain't
Well,
gonna be me.
Yeah, I can
Well,
see
I mean,
that.
we know that they do not use birth control. Most of them. Some of them do, I guess, but most of them do not.
Actually, a
Well,
lot
the
of them
church
do.
forbids the use of artificial birth control. Yes.
Well, that's
See?
too bad. I was a Catholic fucking women using condoms because I'm not getting somebody pregnant. That's.
But you just
You
go
have
back
women
Catholic.
using
And you
I
know the
back
thing
Catholic.
is,
do it for you.
I would bet that God would want people to be responsible and not produce children they don't want. I think that's a thing God would probably be like, yeah, that's probably the best way to do. To go
True.
about
Yeah, I
this.
agree. The
Yeah,
church
yeah.
agrees.
So I
with you.
don't
You were
think that
raised
God
Catholic, and of
is
course you should
against
know that.
is against things like condoms and other prophylactics and what have you.
That
Well,
has nothing to
the
do with
church
it.
is. I didn't say God was. I said the church is. But do you understand what genetic drift is? I mean, do you understand the different mechanisms of evolution that you're trying to say has been disproven?
You could. I think I at one point knew what that meant, but if you want to tell me what it means, you can.
I'm just saying that there's so many there's so many different processes that are included in this, and we've learned more. Like we don't actually do evolution by what Darwin said anymore. We have learned so much more because Darwin didn't even know that genes existed.
Yeah,
There was
I think it was the
DNA.
same time as him, but he didn't know about it. Yeah,
Yeah, he didn't know about DNA.
well, he didn't know the mechanism.
Well, he
idea.
knew the. He knew some. He knew like mechanism of natural selection. He worked out that
Yes.
and genetic drift and things like that. But the thing about it is he did not know the actual how the information was transferred. From from parent to offspring, and we
I think there was
found
a
it
guy
in the
before him who thought the mechanism that if the giraffe the mother giraffe reached her neck further, then the next generation would learn somehow from her experience. So there was no understanding. Lanka or something like that. But
Crap, what is his name?
But we know much more about it. In fact,
and I know that genetic mutation is a thing. I believe genetic mutation occurs.
Yeah, and so we've actually like worked out the genomes, like the full genomes, almost complete genomes of most species. of
Yeah,
like,
I agree with
the humans and all the apes and things. And we know now that Darwin was correct about, he just wasn't completely, he was, some theories are useful. They may not be fully correct, but they're useful. And his was very useful, and it helped us get to a whole different, but there's no refutation of
Do you know how
evolution.
Darwin's theory was actually used? Do you know the actual title? It was called The Origin of Species, and something about the superiority of certain races.
I know. See, that's not got. But he was not speaking about.
And I know he wasn't
humans.
speaking of humans, but his cousin, whose name was John Galton, did start something which is called social Darwinism, which led to eugenics, which led
Okay,
to
that-
the
what does
atrocities
this
of the
have to do
20th
with the
century.
truth of evolutionary
And we
theory?
still have this ethos in our
This
mind.
is
So
a
I don't think
non-sequitur. This has
What does
nothing
this
to do
have to do
Darwin's
with the truth
theory,
of
though, as a
evolutionary theory?
theory
Again, this is a
scientifically,
non-sequitur. This has nothing to do with
is
that.
fine. Leo, be quiet when people don't.
What does this have to do with the point?
This is why
What does this have to
autism
do
is
with the
not a
point?
superpower.
What
All
is
right, so
what is the
hang on,
point?
everybody, shut up for a second. I'm muting everybody. We're not doing that shit. So we're not gonna continue. I'm muting you guys. Don't ever talk to me for a second. We're not gonna continue saying autism is a superpower and all this nonsense that you've been saying.
I think he was saying he's autistic, right, Leo?
No.
Oh,
I was asking you. You were bringing up, oh, well, Darwinism, eugenics. What does that have to do with the truth of evolutionary theory?
And that's where I was going. That
well, I was saying that
total
on a
nonsense.
social level and a
not
political
that
level,
true.
Darwin's in the evolutionary theory has been a devastating harm to humanity. It's really,
hasn't.
really bad.
In fact, it's the
But
reason
as a
why we have the
scientific
kind
theory
of
about natural
medicines that we
evolution-
have right
We're
now. That's how
talking
we've
about
been able to
modern
develop.
evolutionary theory.
Well, I mean, people say when they're talking about eugenics that we need to assist natural selection, right?
So they say that.
Nobody's
That
talking
what the
about
fuck does that
eugenics
mean?
here. We're talking about evolution.
And I think there's a connection with eugenics, and that's why I think it's a bad thing.
There's
Well, but
no
there isn't.
connection. It's a natural process that occurred over billions of years, changing
Right.
Still
the
occurring.
species from a more simple form to many more complex forms.
Right, and the idea is that man as a species has now taken out natural selection, so we get you
What?
know what
No.
happens, right? So the idea is that the dumb, low IQ people reproduce more than the high IQ people, so we need to add eugenics to keep the refining of.
Nobody's talking about eugenics.
No,
You're
this is
denying
not-
Yeah, they like to say there's no
evolution
connection,
as
but
a
there's a
whole.
direct.
Stop
there's a direct
changing the
connection.
topic. You're
You
denying
haven't
evolution
shown that there's
as
a direct
whole.
connection. All you've done is say, well,
Yeah,
some people say this. I don't care what some people say.
It's a terrible, well, whatever. But as a scientific theory, the mechanism is genetic mutation, which is obviously true. And there are rare
That's a
cases where
mechanism.
genetic mutation is beneficial. Usually, it's just a bad code that doesn't affect anything. Where it has any effect, the overwhelming becomes lethal to the organism. There can be beneficial mutations, but in order to make the leaps necessary to create things like eyes and different species and bone structures, you would have to have a series of mutations happening simultaneously, not with one, but two members of that species at the same time, and that's mathematically impossible.
Well, I don't know what
Do
that's
you know,
supposed to
do you know who Donnie Deals is? Do you watch him? Okay, I'm just thinking you have all these creationist arguments against evolution that make no sense. Most,
Yeah, I agree. A lot of that's irrational. I think the young Earth stuff, I think it's stupid. I think the idea that Noah's Ark thing is the universal flood, I don't think it holds up to geology. I think there's no problem with that.
Okay, most mutations are not beneficial or detrimental. Most are just nothing. They don't.
Right.
They're just benign. They're just nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, but everything you're saying though is sounding like the Creationist Institute talking points against evolution. I mean, evolution
Well,
is
just 'cause something-
Darwin just discovered it and recognized it. He didn't create it. It happens. It's not anything that's evil or good or whatever. It is a process in nature that has resulted in all of the variety and complexity of life that we have on Earth. I mean, there's just
No, it
and
doesn't. No, it
to deny. Yes, it does. And to deny it is just irrational because there is
Well, I
too
mean,
much
Darwin-
evidence.
Darwin
There is
just
no
proposed it as a
evidence. There
theory.
is.
He didn't say that it was definitely true.
So-
Do you?
He
Okay,
became a
here's.
believer at the end of his life. So.
Robin, hang on.
You go ahead, Taco.
Acid makes a good point here, in that Ben seems to know nothing about evolution and wants to change the topic. So, do you know what a scientific theory is, and what the difference between a scientific theory and a colloquial?
I know what an asshole is, and that's what you're being right now.
Okay. Now, do you know what the difference between a scientific theory is and a colloquial theory is?
I could guess.
What's the difference?
A scientific theory, my guess would be that is something that people who are, PhDs and professors come up with, who have, and colloquial theories are theories that occur in the general populace of non-professionals.
Close enough. That'll work for this. So you know that there's a difference between a scientific theory and a colloquial theory. So you're not ever going to equivocate a scientific theory with a colloquial theory during the conversation. So with that, evolution is a scientific theory. It has a body of evidence that supports it, a mountain of evidence in many different fields that support it, right?
Not any longer. No.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. So you're saying that there is
Microevolution, yes. Not macroevolution, though.
So you're
They're
saying
the
that
same
there
thing.
is
The fossil record.
else.
I mean, you could do this stuff, but I'm not really I'm not going to say I'm a specialist, but like there are things that should have been discovered that haven't been discovered. But what's the point, guys?
Like
it's
what?
not. You didn't hate God
So you're
because
changing the
you
topic because
legitimately.
you're
I don't
about
hate
the
God.
body.
I don't think
So
anybody here
You're
hates
angry
God.
at
there
God,
is
obviously.
I don't think anybody
body
here is angry at
of
God.
evidence
I think he's angry at you.
that supports the scientific theory of evolution, right? And with that body of evidence, that doesn't go away. That is there. So that body of evidence is the data that is being explained by the scientific theory of evolution. That data exists in many different fields.
Yeah,
And there's
there-
mountains of it. It's the most supported theory that we have. So you're saying evolution is false. So if evolution is false, then you have a competitive scientific hypothesis that's in progress to replace evolution, or you have some type of alteration to the scientific theory of evolution, some type of alteration to the way that we describe.
You don't need an
the
alternative theory to say that one theory is false. You don't need an alternative theory.
So this is how science works. So there is a mountain of data that exists, and the theory of evolution describes that, the scientific theory of evolution. You're saying that evolution is false, and that's fine. You have
No,
reason.
I'm saying-
You
I'm
can
not
say
saying that.
whatever you want.
I'm not
But
saying that. I'm just saying that the
with that-
mechanism.
If you want to combat evolution, you have to better explain the data that exists. So you sound like a crazy man when you come in here and you're trying to poke holes in different things in evolution, and you're going to racism, and you're going to eugenics, changing the topic
important.
completely.
No, it's the same
When
topic.
the fact of the matter is that there's a mountain of data that the scientific theory of evolution is explaining the best it can. And you're saying, no, that's not the case. And that's
Are you
fine.
saying
Once
that
again,
a
this is
scientific
America.
theory can't be disproven?
America. You can say whatever you want.
Are you saying that a scientific theory can't be disproven?
I think he's saying the opposite of that.
Scientific theories can easily be disproven.
Okay.
And in this case, what you would need to do is either provide some type of major alteration to the explanation of evolution and get that through, or
The proverbial
provide
rabbit in the Cambrian.
No,
or
you don't.
provide
Cambrian.
some type of competitive hypothesis.
No, you don't know how science works.
Do
If
you
something
even
is
have a
disproven,
competitive hypothesis?
if something is disproven as, say, a mechanism, you just go back to not having a theory until someone proposes another theory that's satisfying.
Oh my God.
Do you have a
I thought-
competitive hypothesis?
You don't need to.
You do.
No, you don't.
Taco,
Yes, you do.
Taco, I'm gonna go. You have somebody in there that's called "Hello, I'm a Christian." That says he has proof that evolution does
There's
not
too many
exist.
people up here already. Maybe in a little
Right.
bit, but
I'm gonna get off here though, and y'all
Nice
just
talking
go
to you,
ahead.
Robin. I am sorry I
Take it easy, Robin.
misgendered or sexed you. I did not mean to.
It's okay.
yeah, that appeared unintentional, right? I get it.
I'm fine with that.
I was completely not meaning.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Robin, thank you for coming. You have a good day. But
You too.
There
I'll be
is
listening.
there is this mountain of evidence that the scientific theory of evolution supports.
There's evidence, yeah.
Or explains. I'm sorry, I misspoke there. But it explains, right? And it's supporting it, the theory, right? You would have to better explain that data with another theory, or you would have to look at the data and you would have to say, okay, there's this alteration we need to make to the theory of evolution, right?
Well, can I use Darwin as an example? Darwin did not have the mechanism, right? He did not know about genetics and genetic
Totally
mutation.
irrelevant.
Correct?
We're talking about modern evolution.
Oh, it's irrelevant. But I'm just saying, if someone provided the mechanism as genetic mutation and that mechanism failed, you just go back to the drawing board of saying it's a theory. We don't have the mechanism. It doesn't mean you couldn't find the mechanism.
Do you
But
not?
you don't need an
understand-
alternative mechanism. You could just say we don't have it.
Do you not understand what I'm saying when I say a mountain of evidence? I'll clarify. Every field of science that has any way of investigating evolution has mountains of evidence that's peer-reviewed supporting the scientific theory of evolution.
And mountains of
literally
problems.
every field that could investigate this.
But there's mountains of problems as well. But you see, you
No, there's not.
apply this selective. Wait a minute.
And there's still a
Wait a
mountain
minute.
of
Wait a minute.
evidence.
Wait, hold on a
What-
minute. Wait.
What problem?
You should
What
apply
problem?
the same critical apparatus that you apply to the New Testament. You say there's not
It's not
really any
analogous,
evidence outside of the New
analogous.
Testament than the New Testament. That's true. Okay, and if Jesus's bones were definitively
This is
found
a total red
tomorrow,
herring.
then it would be disproven. It wouldn't mean that you need another theory. You would just be
We're
disproven.
talking
We'd
about
be
the
stuck.
scientific theory of evolution, and you just equated a scientific theory of evolution with a colloquial theory.
No, it's every. No. I'm saying you're
That
talking
was
about a theological theory. I have a
disanalogous.
master's degree in theology, so I am an expert on that.
Oh, wow. Theology. So that was
Yeah.
disanalogous, right? So that's the problem.
No, I don't understand why you're so angry. I'm just saying, if
I'm not angry
if I
at all.
wait, if I go into a courtroom, someone accused me of murdering my lovely daughter here, and I say you don't have enough evidence to prove that I did it. I don't need to say who did it, right? It can just be.
This is
like-
all red herrings. We're talking about the scientific
It's
theory of
logic.
evolution, and you're going
It's
off
logic
topic
applies to science.
because you cannot engage with the actual topic because you don't have.
So you
sufficient
just
knowledge
apply logic
to even
selectively.
address
That shows that you're
science
angry
at its
and you have an
most
agenda
foundational
and you're
level
doing
when we're
propaganda.
talking
You're not
about
interested in
a
the
scientific
truth.
theory. We're
You're
talking
not
about
interested in
a
the truth. You're just
scientific
interested
theory.
in propaganda. You should work for
The
the
scientific
IDF.
theory of
You should
evolution.
become a Zionist
Keep over talking.
propagandist because you don't care about the truth.
Wait, are you a leftist?
So we're talking about the scientific theory of evolution. There is a mountain of evidence supporting this in literally every field. I'm asking you, what is either your competitive hypothesis or modifications that you want to make to evolution?
Well, the problem is that there's a mountain of evidence, and then I believe, and I may be wrong, there are a mountain now of problems about one particular explanation. You
Name
don't
3 of
need
them.
another theory. You can
Name
just
3
say,
of
well,
the
that's
problems.
not an explanatory mechanism.
Name 3 of the problems.
And that's just basic science.
Name 3 of the problems.
I think the fossil record is a problem.
Why?
I
In what
think,
way?
I think it's widely quoted that Darwin would say we're going to find all of these intermediary fossils of these intermediary species. But I'm not going to claim I'm an expert on that.
So
and
you're
I
talking
do
about
believe-
transitional fossils.
I do believe that you
have
guys
a
are right
lot
that
of
many
transitional
times
fossils, right?
Christians or believers
Ben,
try to shoehorn science
Ben.
into fitting the Bible in a way that is
Ben.
irrational. I'm not doing that. Catholics can freely believe in macroevolution. It's not a religious thing.
Are you claiming that are you trying to refer to transitional fossils, that we would find transitional fossils?
We have transitional
Because
fossils.
we have those. Almost
Archaeopteryx.
every fossil is a transitional fossil because it's got ancestors and it has progeny that it sits in between.
You guys don't understand
in the phylogenetic tree.
Science.
So when you
science
say,
at some
hold
point-
on, you complain about people interrupting you, but I was literally in the middle of a sentence. So, given that pretty much every fossil is a transitional fossil, we've found transitional fossils.
Not to
So
mention-
to
I don't think that's true.
elaborate on that, which is, I think, the more important point. What you mean is happening, Leo, is that they're able to discover specific transitional fossils that they would expect in various layers of rock in various parts of the world because evolution works.
Of course it does.
Because evolution happened.
And we don't even need the
evolution
fossil.
was real. This is where we would find this type of species. And they find it there almost every time.
Yeah, that's happened a lot.
What I would like to
Actually,
propose is that you guys have a psychological bias that is impeding you from making scientifically sound statements.
no, it's just a claim. Nobody cares.
acting,
Nobody
man.
cares about your editorializing.
Well,
the
Breakfast
discussion.
Tacos said that.
Well,
he
so
diagnosed
you could
me as
respond like both
gaslighting
me,
you,
both
and
me and
also that I am
BTalk like
projecting on
made
you, so
legitimate
that's part of-
points with respect to what evolutionary
Atheists
theory
are
is, and all you
angry
did
at
is go,
religion.
"Oh well,
They
but
have
you
a right
guys
to
just
be.
have a bias, so you
I
can't
hate
understand
religious
this."
people
Nobody
generally
cares
on the
about your
internet.
editorializing the discussion. You can respond to the points that we made. That would be helpful. That would be meaningful.
Leo, do you think you're being respectful and having a good time?
I'm having a good time. I don't think I'm being disrespectful.
I really like your attitude.
The
It's
funny thing is, we can literally completely disregard the fossil record. Quite frankly, it's just extra data that we have. We don't even need it to know that evolutionary theory is true because we have the genomic record from which we can completely reproduce the fossil record.
Well, I think all of that may be true, but why
It
would you
is
want,
true.
Why would you want? But you know what they call the Enlightenment, right? It's called the Enlightenment as opposed to what came before it, which was when the church in the medieval times, right? Which was obviously the Endarkenment by implication.
Endarkenment?
This
Haven't
caused-
ever heard that one.
Well, I'm
Dark
saying like lightness must have come out of something. Well, it was called the Dark Ages, right?
Yeah.
Okay, even though the Dark Ages does refer to a period in the 8th and 9th centuries that truly were like chaotic. But the idea is that light came into being through science and shone light on the dark superstitions. That's why you have this reference to lightning bolts and all this nonsense and witches and all this stuff. Okay, and there is some truth to that. There was superstition. And but what I'm saying is there's a bias within some science which makes science into a religion. And really the whole point of
That
it
makes
is
no
to
sense.
put down religion, which is fully compatible with science.
Well, no, it's not.
No.
And in which
we're on the evolution.
science is not
So-
even possible
Conceding
without
I'm-
basic
on evolution.
religious truths.
Well, that's not true. So
Sorry,
there's a
conceding the
distinction
point on
that needs to be
evolution.
made here that I want to make. I don't think that theism is incompatible with science, but religion is. Because almost every religion makes statements about the way the world works that are straightforwardly false. So either
Okay.
one has to reject those religious
give me-
claims,
so
or
let's do
one has to
Catholicism.
reject
You
the
were raised
scientific
Catholic,
claims.
right? You
Like,
were raised
say,
Catholic, right? So you have
the
some
global
knowledge.
flood of Noah. We know through various
but you're
scientific
Catholic. You're
methodologies
Catholic.
in
You
geology,
were raised Catholic,
including
right?
things like dendrochronology, that the flood was not global. So
Leo,
that is a
Leo,
claim
Leo.
about the world that
Leo.
is made. Can I finish what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's just speech. Just we'll bounce.
Well,
around.
it's important. You're learning
No,
something.
we don't need the long
So this is a
speech
specific
every
claim
time.
made by, would go probably a bit faster if you didn't interrupt. It's funny how that works.
Well, like,
So
the
this is
internet
a
is not for
specific
people to make
claim
5-minute
made by a
speeches.
religion about the way the world works that stands in direct opposition to what science
Okay, so
says.
let's
We can do this for
investigate
literally
that a bit.
every religion that's on the
So-
planet.
so let's
So what this
investigate
clearly
that a
shows is that there are inconsistencies between the claims of religions
Okay,
and
so
the
let's
claims of
investigate
science.
that a
So they
bit,
aren't
Leo.
actually fully compatible.
Instead of
with
just
one
keeping
another.
talking, let's just investigate what you said. You said you were raised Catholic, and you said that all religions, including, I assume, Catholicism, force you to think things that go directly contrary to common sense or reason.
No, see, you were
Does
too
the
busy
Catholic
trying to
Church
interrupt me
teach-
and not
Wait a
listening
minute.
to me.
No, you
because
can't
That's
interrupt.
not what I said. That
ahead.
is not what I said. I
That
did
is
not
what you
say
said.
that religions force you to believe anything.
Or they
I said that
include
religions
definitive beliefs.
make claims about
Okay.
the world that are in direct
What is the
opposition to
claim?
what
What
science
is the
says.
claim that the
such
Catholic
that,
Church
and
makes that's indirect?
one of those you
ahead.
were too busy interrupting and you weren't listening because I gave
No,
one.
Leo,
I talked
you're
about
not
the
the dad
global
here. I'm the
flood,
dad here.
the global
I'm the dad
flood
here. You're
that is
the
in
son.
that is in the Bible,
Social
and
flood.
how that story directly contradicts what science says about the world. So we
Okay,
have
can you give
religion
an
saying
example
one
from
thing
your
and
religious
science saying
experience as a
another. You would
Leo,
either
we
have to
have to be able
abandon
to
what
be
the
quiet
claims
at
of the
some point.
religion or abandon the claims of science, such that that the religion and science are incompatible. And you can do this with every religion.
Okay, can we do it with Catholicism?
I just did.
So we were on the topic of evolution. Have you conceded the evolutionary discussion?
I believe in evolution, if you want to say microevolution, and I think macroevolution. As a Catholic, you know that the church has never defined this. So as a Catholic, I'm free to believe, agree with you or not agree with you. It's just a scientific thing.
Really?
So it's nothing to do with religion for me.
So did you concede the discussion there in that you don't have a competitive scientific hypothesis or a alteration that you'd like to make to the currently?
I would like to make it.
theory of
Can
evolution?
you give me a minute to make it without cutting me off?
Yeah, I just want to hear the competitive hypothesis
I can
or the
prove
alteration you'd like to make.
that the variety of animals in nature is not an indifferent force, but is a personal force. Here's my proof. When you take any child who's normal to a zoo and he looks at the animals, what is his response? His or her response?
Oh wow! Look,
Cool.
tigers. That's so cool.
Delight.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Delight. Now, why is it that one species, which is, we would all agree, at the apogee of evolution or God's creation, if you want to say that, take delight in the variety and the interestingness of all these different species? It's
You're just
because
appealing to
the world.
aesthetics
the child is
related to the
recognizing the
topic.
beautiful work of his father.
No, the child is recognizing that the
And
world
I
is interesting,
win,
and
guys.
we can
This
learn
is
about it.
an
Be
appeal to
joyful.
aesthetics. This is, I
Embrace
believe, an informal
creation.
logical
You're not a
fallacy.
victim of anything. I don't
This
care
is
if you're fat.
this
I
is
don't care
the
if you look like
proverbial
Leo.
pigeon
You've got
shitting
social
all over the
skills
board
that are
and then
lacking.
strutting around as if
None
it
of
won.
this is
That's
an excuse
what
for
this
being
is.
a victim and hating your
Well,
creator, your father.
You're
in heaven.
hating
Very much.
your
Who sent his son
father.
to die on the cross for you.
Let his son
But he doesn't
die
mind that you guys do this.
on the
He's not
You
damn
guys
you to
get it
hell,
all
neither
out.
am I. But I'm
You guys
saying
get it all
it's
out.
really easy. Be like the children. Suffer the little children to come unto me.
Still going?
Yeah.
Take your inspiration from a child, the wonder of God's
Yeah.
creation. They
Yeah.
all believe in God. You've
Yeah.
become bitter and angry, and probably it's because of religion. But it's got nothing to do with the true religion of the Catholic faith, which is a great gift to all of us. But if you want to continue in confusion and infamy and nonsense, you're welcome to do so.
So Ben,
But thanks, guys, for the time.
Oh, you're gonna bail.
You get it all.
Oh
Shit.
my
Got
God.
it all out there.
That guy is a character. Oh man, that was a lot of fun.
Get wrecked, nerd. Got fucking dominated, dude.
Absolutely dominated.